so I pulled this off your bio. So he picked corn in the summer. What was it? Corn and tomatoes in the summer. So he's got an agricultural background, so some of us can relate to that. I met Johnny. Do you realize it's been almost 10 years?
I do, because I had a child, around the time of leadership.
Yeah.
No, she's now 7.
So we were in a leadership program together out in California, and Johnny always said he wanted to start a coaching company. And he took his dream and took it to reality and started academic life coaching, and has been doing that since 2005. And now he blogs for Newsweek magazine, and he has, and now he trains coaches to actually lead programs in working with youth, looking at academic environments. So do you want to add anything, Johnny?
No, thanks, Cindy. That's about right. I've been working with high school students now for about 10 years.
Okay.
And I started out as a middle school and high school Latin teacher. So I studied Latin and Greek actually in college, and then I found life coaching, and then put the two together. And I've been helping students from a life coaching standpoint find great colleges and get into great schools. And so I thought I'd maybe just talk a little bit about my experience for maybe 5-10 minutes, and then just open it up for questions. And any questions you have, I'll be happy to answer them. So, yeah, how does that sound? Sound about right?
Sounds good.
Yes.
Yes.
So my approach to the college application here in the United States is most of the students I work with are students who are in the United States, and they're interested in getting into really great colleges. And I didn't find like college consulting. I didn't set out to be a college counselor. But what I found is that when I was working with students from a life coaching standpoint, when students were gaining these skills that helped them thrive in their own lives, they were getting into great colleges naturally. And that's what I really wanted people to, that's what I really wanted students to experience, was when students naturally step up into leadership in their own lives and in their communities, they put together better college applications. So I was a Latin teacher. I taught middle school and high school for 6 years. And while I was teaching, I was trying out all these life coaching principles like a mad scientist in this laboratory. And out of that came what I do now is the academic life coaching program. So it's this little workbook here that has like 10 sessions. And I'd be happy to send you some of those too, some workbooks, just so you can work through them and see them. And so what happened was the students I was working with, they were naturally getting into better colleges because they were doing the things that colleges wanted to see, but no one was directly teaching. And what I discovered is that if any time a student does something outside the bounds of the normal classroom, any time you do something that takes a level of proactivity, meaning like writing a novel, starting a club, putting together a community service organization, sports, doing something fantastic athletically or academically. Those are the kind of things that colleges are mostly looking for, because a lot of students have really great grades. They get good, SAT or ACT tests. They have good GPAs, and they're really looking at, like that you are involved in clubs. I mean, those are things that most students are doing. You have to think, what is it that I am really passionate about? What is it that I love to do? And then do some sort of project in that makes it that makes you excited, that you can write about, you can put on your application essay. This is sort of the formula that helps students do, is whenever you find what you're passionate about and explore it, that's what makes you a compelling college candidate. And so that's what I help students do mostly, is figure out what it is they love to do, and then what project will look really good for colleges. When you're thinking about schools in the U.S., or you're thinking about schools in general, the international students I work with, there seems to be this allure that the U.S. has this Like in terms of colleges, like there's this wonderful college experience, and it's absolutely true. Like the college experience is unbelievably awesome, especially when you have a focus of what you want to achieve. And if you're thinking about like this is what I want to do, and this is the purpose that I want to go to this institution, that helps so that just increases your chances so much more. And so that looks like doing some research on college. You know, what professors do you want to work with? Why do you want to work with those professors? What books have those professors written? What articles have those professors written? You know, what is your specific purpose for wanting to go to this institution? You know, it's not a good enough reason just to go to an institution because it's prestigious or that you think it's something that you want to, you know, oh, it looks good on your resume. It's more than that. You're going to a great institution because they have a great professor and you want to work in a specific program. So you put that passion together with a specific purpose, and then your application, you have double the chance maybe of getting in. And then the final piece is thinking a little bit more long term. So you're thinking about applying to an undergraduate degree. It's also helpful in the back of your mind to think graduate school and maybe even getting a doctorate. That the idea of college isn't just this 4-year bachelor degree, but you're thinking long term about what you want to achieve. And in that sense, where you go in your undergraduate isn't necessarily as important as where you go in the long run, or what you do in the long run. So those are the three points I was thinking as I was putting the notes together in my mind. You know, a passion, you know, creating a passion and following through on it. The second one is really applying to a college with a specific purpose in mind, and doing your homework, doing your research, reading the books that the professor has written. That goes a really long way. And then the final thing is thinking with the long range in mind. So even if you don't get into like the most amazing undergraduate program, if you can still use that undergraduate program and think graduate school and then doctoral program, that's the proper way of thinking about this whole process. So that's it. There we go. So any questions? I'm sure there are some. And ask away. The harder the better.
So Johnny, there's this perception that getting into a university in the America is really, really hard, and that you have to have connections, and that you get lucky if you get in to the college your first choice. So part of this is debunking that.
Yep. Well, I think if you're looking at the colleges in the U.S., it's really hard, I think, for students to get honed in on this is the one college that's going to be good for me. So oftentimes, even for students in the U.S., to have this idea that this is the one school that this is my top choice. I want to go all in on this school. Like this is what I want to do. That's a really hard. That's a really hard idea to grasp onto. What you're really trying to do is say these are my top 3 to 5 schools. So there are many schools, there are many good schools that you will be happy at, that you will thrive at. And so if you open up your range a little bit and think more in terms of like 3 to 5 schools, you'll have a much better chance and you won't have so much anxiety or pressure going through the process. That you really want to take the pressure off of you and make the process as fun as possible. You really open yourself up to those possibilities, and part of that is applying to more than one school. And I think when you are applying to those schools, the thing that increases your odds of getting in are having some sort of engagement or having some sort of community project, really similar to the experience that Cindy and I had in leadership. Doing something that is outside the bounds of school. If you get into if you really tap into the idea of leadership and being of service to other people, that's when you increase your chances, and you'll probably get into the college that you want to get into. But it's not. Yeah, you're trying to you're trying to open up your scope a little bit, not get zeroed in on one college specifically, but open up that scope and maybe look at your top 5 colleges.
Yeah.
So hi, I emailed you twice. It's Diana.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you. I have a couple of questions, but I'll start with the one that I think it relates the most to the students. You start to work with the U.S. students that apply to elite schools, right?
Yes.
What 4 skills would you define are essential for the students to have if they want to apply to competitive colleges?
Well, I think the first thing is a reason. The first thing I see as making the biggest difference is having a reason to apply to an elite school. It's not enough of a reason to say I want to go to an elite school because it's an elite school and it's the best school and I want to go there. It's helpful to say, okay, I want to go to, I want to go to Brown because they have an amazing Sanskrit program. And that it's one of the few Sanskrit programs in the country, and because it has this amazing program, it's very, I want to study there because I want to work with this professor, and I want to work in this specific program. And when you start thinking in terms of the biggest thing I see when I'm working with students who want to go to elite schools is it's simply not enough to say, I want to go to that school because it's a great school. You have to apply to undergraduate as if it were a graduate program. And graduate students are applying to schools with a lot of knowledge about who they are specifically working with and why they want to go to that school. So this looks like, for instance, what kind of schools do people want to go to?
Okay, I did.
Which school kind of school? Where do you want to go to school?
Anna?
My top choice is the University of Chicago.
Excellent. Perfect. Great school. So why University of Chicago?
Why? Well, at first, like the architecture and the interior, but then I Googled it, and it has great programs. It has great professors. It was as a whole, I loved it.
It's a great school. It's an outstanding school. So what specifically do you want to study?
Chemistry.
Excellent. So what it would look like is, do you know the names of the professors who are in the chemistry department?
Not really.
Yeah, of course not, right? But that's the level. That's the difference between students who are like, I want to go there because it's a great school versus there are a few professors in the chemistry department I really want to work with. And this is why I want to work with those chemistry professors. So you see the difference? Like, that's how proactive you have to be if you're really thinking about an elite school. You have to be that proactive in doing your research and even reaching out to those professors ahead of time. So it would look like contacting the chemistry professors at University of Chicago and saying, hi, you said your name was Hanan?
Sorry?
Anna.
Anna. So you say, hi, I'm Anna from Macedonia. I'm an international student. I'm really interested in, attending University of Chicago. This is my specific interest in chemistry, right? And this is what I want to do. And it would also be looking at contacting chemists in your community and, asking them, what sort of opportunities are available in Macedonia, like what kind of opportunities are open for you to achieve, what kind of opportunities are there. So you're digging deep into the opportunity of college. You're digging deep into the opportunity of what you want to do with your life, and college becomes a stepping stone to that larger vision of what you want to do with your life. College isn't the aim. College is a process for you to get to a certain point. And when you start thinking like that, you start doing more research. That's the kind of research that's what colleges want to see, because you're doing it for a purpose. you're way more likely to succeed at that college because you have a specific aim in mind.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. More questions. Come on. The questions are great. I love good.
Hi, my name is Diana. Well, my top choices are UCLA and University of Southern California. I really like those schools because my top choices are in the field of biology. I want to major in biology because afterwards I want to like PhD or master's with something connected to medicine, genetics, and when I was looking throughout their biology courses, they're really good. They have really good programs, and they don't just have general biology. They have more fields in biology that can lead me to the path to go afterwards in medicine. And plus, they have really good programs with research and not just in the college, but also outside, a lot of work in groups, and I really like that, and that's why they are my top choices.
Absolutely. So what do you want to do with biology? What's your 10-year vision plan of where you would love to be, let's say, after college?
Well, I don't want to just stop after college. I want to continue fields of medicine, neurosciences, or genetics. I'm not really sure.
That is fantastic. So, a lot of this would look like, right? So what a lot of this would look like would be, so have you contacted, people who are doing what you want to do, like neurosurgeons, genetics in Macedonia?
Well, I know a few doctors, but I don't know like neurosurgeons exactly in that profession. And people that do genetics, they're not, because that field is not really, it's not developed, and that's why I want to study it in the United States, because there they have a great job opportunities, and they can really develop, even though it's like something
Absolutely. New. So when I'm talking about, okay, so contacting people like in your area, right, who are at least doing something similar to what you want to do. You see, let me ask you a question. What kinds of ideas or opportunities pop in your mind when you're thinking, oh, I can contact local doctors?
Yeah. Well, either it's going to be like work in hospital as a doctor, or it's going to be like research work in laboratories, facilities, research facilities, or there are also a lot of research done in the universities. A lot of research work.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So the idea is, so right now you can do two things. One is right now gaining more knowledge of what you want to do right now with your life. What opportunities, what pathways, where you want to end up being. That's one thing you can do right now. The other thing is contacting those professors at UCLA and telling them, look, this is what I want to do with my life. This is what I want to have happen. This is my vision, what I want. How will UCLA help me support that vision? You can ask professors that question, and then you can go and you can get the books, get the articles that those professors have written, and say, this is exactly what I want to study. These are I've read your most recent article in Nature magazine. And this is why I'm really excited about working with you. Like that's the kind of proactivity that you need to engage in if you really want to get into university school. Because so few students actually take this level of proactivity. But the students who do, they increase their chances exponentially. because you're being more proactive in your community, in your life, and in the college choice.
Thank you.
Yeah. So how many people, just show of hands, how many students here have the college know the name of a particular professor in the institution that you want to apply to? Right? No one does that. No one does that. Yes, no one does that. But this, so it's not just you. It's not just this room of people. Everyone applying to a university doesn't do this. No one does this. But when you do, you're showing that you really care, that you're passionate about whatever activity or subject you're going after. You're doing real work. You're gaining knowledge. You're gaining information. You're forcing yourself to really dig deep into your subjects. This is what colleges are yearning for. They're yearning for people who are proactive.
Hi, my name is.
And it's not just I mean, I should say it's true. This is even true for students in the United States. I get really excited about this because it's true. It absolutely is. It's about taking the extra leaps and moving that steps forward, even when you don't have to. And this isn't true just for the international students. This is true for every student, even in the U.S. Even in the U.S., students don't do this kind of homework, which I think they need. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so hi, my name is Lana, and I still have a year ahead for applying. But for now, my top choice for university is Boston University, and I would like to. Well, my top choice.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
Okay, my top choice for university right now is Boston University.
Boston University.
And I would.
I've been to Boston.
And I would like to study business or international affairs.
Okay. So, so what question you have? Or what's the question that you ask yourself a lot in this process?
Well, will I get a scholarship, or will I get accepted?
Will I get accepted? So, what do you like about international affairs and business?
Well, it's what I really enjoy doing, and I really find myself working that job in 10 years from now.
All right. What do you love best about that? What do you love best about that process?
Well, I like doing paperwork and stuff like that, and just communicating with people. I find it interesting.
What book has influenced you the most? What book or idea has influenced you the most in international business or this?
In business, definitely, I would say the biography of Steve Jobs.
Excellent. That's perfect. So I read it too, right? And it's some pretty cool stuff. What would be who are 3 people you could reach out to in your community or this? Who are 3 people you can reach out to interview about what their life is like in the field that you're interested in?
Well, my father is a CEO, so I always talk to him, and a lot of my parents' friends are working have their own businesses and are in that field.
Excellent. What do they say? What would you imagine they say are the keys for you to get where they are? Like, what would you say the path is? What path would they say to get that?
No. Can you please repeat the question?
Repeat it.
If you were to ask them, like, hey, how did like, what should I do to get to where you are? What would you imagine they would say the steps are?
Well, they always say to have new and creative ideas, to think out of the box, and just to earn your spot.
Yes, excellent. So what's the thing that you could do in the next 2 months? That would be one small little mini project that demonstrates you thinking out of the box and coming up with ideas.
Well, maybe I was thinking about doing a project in school for TED Talking.
What?
TED Talks. TED Talks.
Oh, TED Talks.
Yeah.
A project around TED Talks. Okay.
So set up, are you talking about like set up a TEDx for your school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's ideal. That is perfect. That is exactly the kind of thing that colleges want to see.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, but you see that, right? But you see the process of thinking, right? You want to see, like, that's the process that you have to think in. You have to think, what do I need to do to be successful in this opportunity? You know, and thanks. Yeah, come in. So I have to say a couple things, right? So I work out of my home office, and I have it's fine. So I just got some beta fish, and the beta fish are my daughters are here too, and so they can say hi unless it's okay. They can say hi. This is my oldest. Hi. That's Macedonia. Right? So she was born when we met. She's 7. Yeah, she's 7.
So now you get to go look at a map and find Macedonia.
Yeah, there we go. There's our map. We got a map over here in the world, right? You see it in my office. I'll put a little star on Macedonia for everyone. Very good.
No.
Right.
Great.
Good. So other questions?
My Simona.
Huh? Raise your hand.
Hi, my name is Simona, and I still have a year until I apply for universities. And my plans for now are to major in computer science, but I don't say that I can't change what I'm thinking now. And like a dream school I want to apply in is MIT. So what are the chances for international students to get accepted in?
Yeah, MIT is a great school, and it's hard for anybody to get into MIT. It's not like, but I did help a student who got into MIT like early action. So it was like her, in essence, it was like her safety school because she got in really early in the process. You said you're interested in computer science? Like that's what you're doing right now? You want to stay in computer science, or do you want to transfer to do something different?
My plan for now is that I can't say that I won't change my mind in the future because I still have a year ahead to apply.
Okay.
She has a year left, so she may change her mind.
Yeah. Okay. It's breaking up a little bit. It's hard to hear everything. So let's say you're interested in computer science, right? Let's just stick with computer science for us. What kind of programming or what have you studied so far in terms of programming?
Well, at school we program in C++, and this is my 3rd year I'm programming in that program.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what have you created? What kind of programs have you created? Or can you create?
Nothing exactly, because we still haven't studied so much. It's just basics, nothing more.
Exactly. So I'm sure you're aware that MIT offers, they offer like they have free sessions, right? They have that where you can watch videos of professors talking at MIT, and it's like free college lectures online. So that's where you want to go and watch as many of those lectures as you can about computer science. And if you can get to a point where you can develop, let's say, a program, C++, you're developing some sort of application. If you can develop an application for your school, or a local organization, or a business, that's the kind of thing that you could do that would really help your application. If you don't want to go to MIT, you can go to something, that will still help your application. I think learning computer science is absolutely amazing. I think it's phenomenal, really. I think it's an excellent field, and if I could go back, that might be the one field that I would do, computer science.
Yeah.
I have one more question. So the college search took us the longest. We started maybe in March or earlier, and most of the students still haven't decided on the final college list. What resources would you recommend for, especially for international students? What resources do you consider the best when searching for the right fit? And how do you advise the students, your students, about using the rankings?
Yeah. I think the process. Okay, there are two different kinds of the processes here. I think there's two different processes. The one is like the first. There's like the process that is. Like the first process is that first scope of the college application, where you're just trying to get a lot of colleges and trying to see, okay, these are the colleges that I might think. I think you probably want to start with about 12 colleges. So like look at maybe 12 schools. What I use, and I've done this with international students too, is I just use collegeboard.org. So it's really simple. I'll put the answers. That's basically what I use, just collegeboard.org, to get the first 12 colleges that you might be interested in.
But the huge difference, I think, and the most difficult part for us is that we cannot visit the colleges and universities.
No, yeah.
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 So basically rely on we do have books here at the corner. We usually get the latest editions from the big publishers like Peterson's and College Board. Our library is very well equipped, but still I think it's different when you go and visit the school, right? So
absolutely. Yeah.
What's your advice for that? How should students decide when they don't have the chance to go and meet the professors or see the school?
So that's where this other step, like the deeper dive into each specific subject, makes more sense. So let's say you're interested in chemistry, right? And you want to go to University of Chicago. The idea is that you want to contact those professors with really specific questions about the program, about what opportunities are available if you go to University of Chicago, what kinds of programs are there, and then ask professors, can you Skype for 5 minutes, something like this, right? You want to take that deeper dive into the subject and contact the professors. And their responses will give you a lot of information about the feel of the institution. Are the professors welcoming? Do they really want, do they seem like they want you there? You can ask them what the culture is like. If you can go on Facebook and look at students throughout the University of Chicago and ask them questions. There are so many resources at your fingertips through the internet that you can ask either professors or students at universities you want to go to what the student culture is like. I'm sure Chicago has a chemistry club. There's some student who has a chemistry club at the University of Chicago. Contact her. Get her email address. Write her a note. Be like, hey, this is me. This is why I'm going to the University of Chicago. I'd love to find more information about it. That's the kind of stuff I would do to talk about the fit or talk about what's happening in Chicago.
And where should we look for those contacts? Like, where can we get emails and stuff like that from professors, from
Google. Yeah, Google it. Yeah, you Google it and you ask questions. It's amazing. It's probably the answer almost to every question is Google it. And I think so. What I'm hoping you're getting from this is that the college application isn't this passive. Oh, I hope I can get into this school. Like I hope that I hope this happens. I hope this kind of thing. It's not this like there is an element of expectation of I want to get into this place. But there's also I want to there's also this. There's so much you can actually do to help your application if you simply start writing emails to people, and if you ask people, and if you are proactive in the sense of this is who I want to be, this is what I want to achieve, this is what I want to go after. When you do those kinds of things, that's when the magic happens.
Johnny,
Oh,
how much weight does the college essay really have?
a lot.
And so, can you give us some tips on what would make it strong?
Alright, distracted. Yeah, the college application, like the essay is absolutely huge. Essays are it's like a delicate art, I think when you're talking about what makes essays really well, the main thing is they're looking for the quality of your writing, where you want to write something that's absolutely, it is your best quality of writing. You want to have something that is. Have any of you read the New Yorker? Have any of you read any articles from the New Yorker? But or New Yorker magazine, or any sort of literary magazine. The quality of the literary magazine is unbelievable. You read the articles and you're like, wow, I want to read this article even more. Right? There's it's almost like I would treat a college application as if it's poetry. Every single word on your college essay matters. It's more it's not so much an essay, it's more like a poem. And so you want to treat it with that level of attention, to where you want to find your voice, you want to be confident with it, you want to make it seem like this is something that you have put a lot of time into. And those essays are arguably the most important piece of your application, because that's the only piece of the application that you can completely control are your essays. The best essays I've seen combine both this is what I've done in my life, this is what I want to accomplish in my life, as well as this is who I am. This is the kind of person I am. And I have a tool. I use core motivation. Cindy, I can send you the little handout I use. It's just a simple personality assessment. And this is what I do with students to help them understand this is who I am. This is these are the qualities in me that I know make me this kind of person. And that's what you want to also express in your college application essay.
Cool. Okay. And recommendations?
Write emails. Write emails. You want to write as many emails as you can to people who you're interested in working with. You want to, who you want to be. I think a really great, like if I were to go through and say, okay, here's your homework, here's your college application homework, it would be to write 2 emails a week to professors or people in the field that you're interested in to gather more information and to, gather more information and start networking with people who are in your field. Oh, and Google too. I think you want to go with Google a lot. Google is your friend.
There's a
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
There's a saying that the University of Chicago only accepts 1 student from Macedonia a year. So what am I supposed to do to, have higher odds of being accepted? Well,
I think 2 things. One is to apply to more than 1 university in the U.S. So I would broaden the idea of this is the one college I want to get into. I would look at 5 different schools. Would be like the first thing that I would do. The second thing I would do is start to differentiate yourself by becoming a mini expert in chemistry and the opportunities that chemistry offers you, the recent articles that the professors have written, and then contact those professors. Let's say you do that. Let's say you do some research and you look at the articles that professors have written, and you can identify these are the 3 professors I really want to work with. And you write those professors an email, and they go, "Wow, I've got an email from Anna in Macedonia. That's amazing. She's read my articles, and this is what she wants to do in her community. And this is what she wants to do with chemistry. That's awesome. I'm going to write a note to the admissions office and say, I want this student. I would really like this student in my program if she, if it works out. If she has the grades and the SAT scores, all of the other things. If it works out, I really want this person in my program." That's the process that you want to have happen. And that's what will happen if you are proactive and take the steps to learn more about the field, the institution, the professors, and what you want to do afterwards with that degree. If you can put all those things together, that's how you increase your chances for most of getting into university.
Thanks.
Yep. How are you doing, Cindy? These are the answers you want to hear?
Yeah. No, this is great.
Yeah.
So I'm going to address scholarships today. Johnny, can you tell us anything about the whole scholarship process? Because for a lot of students, without scholarships, there's no opportunity. How do you separate out the really, the top-notch schools that are willing to provide scholarship opportunities? How do you balance that?
Well, I think the idea of scholarships comes second to the idea of scholarship comes second to the ideas of admission. So usually what happens is you get admitted. Let's say you get admitted to University of Chicago, and University of Chicago is need blind, meaning that the top universities, they want to have the best students. So if you get into a great university and you need a scholarship to attend, that university will provide that scholarship for you to attend. So many of the best schools are need blind because they recognize the value that a lot of students have, and if students need those scholarships, they provide them. So I think scholarships, in my mind, come second to the admissions process. So I would focus completely on the admissions process first, get into the schools, hopefully get into 2, maybe 3 schools, and then you see which schools give you the most money in terms of scholarships. And that helps the decision-making process.
Okay. Have a question? Any more questions?
Maybe one last.
Yeah.
Last question, because John, you mentioned that you have worked with both international students and Americans. How would you say the process of advising international students is different from the one in the States? Or, you know, what do you think international students should do differently in order to improve their chances?
Yeah. So I think international students, the one additional piece that I've seen is you have to demonstrate that you also know English very well. And so they want to, if English is not your first language, they want to maintain. Was it TOEFL? I forget the name of the test, but they want you to score really well on that. So that's just from a logistics standpoint, that's a big thing. From an applying to college standpoint, what I have done with international students is a lot of times international students think of being an international student as a disadvantage. Like you think, oh, I'm an international student, this is a disadvantage because only one person like gets in from Macedonia and University of Chicago. So it's like, oh, people like get anxious about that. What I have helped international students do is you have to flip that and see your being international as a huge advantage, as something that is that is very much in your favor. And you have to think about it you have to think about your application, your process, from the point of view of being from an admissions officer in the United States. So an admissions officer in the United States is looking for people who are who demonstrate diversity, who demonstrate, you know, this is what I want to do for my community. You know, and these are the values that I'm bringing from my country that I want to share and learn from in the United States. When you're thinking about being an international student as an advantage, and what you've done in your community, and what you can do, what you can take from the institution to bring back to your community, that's the biggest difference I see in international students' applications. And almost every international student I talk with, they're completely freaked out that they think that being from outside the U.S. is not in their favor, when the best students, the best applications I've seen have turned that on its head and made being from another country a huge advantage. Not just like, oh, I'm from another country, that's an advantage, but I'm from another country, this is what I'm dealing with, this is what I want to do with my education, and actually do something with it, like set up a TED Talk, or, you know, create some sort of computer program. Do something like that. That's the opportunity that you have, and that's the biggest difference I see between someone from the U.S. and international. Is you have to address the international issue. That's what to do is head on.
You know, before I jump in, are there other questions? So, Johnny, I'm going to pose a question here because one of the things that I've noticed after being here in Macedonia for a year now is that volunteerism is not necessarily, how do I want to say it? It's not necessarily the most glamorous thing to say that you're doing is that you're a volunteer. in part because the unemployment rate is so high here, particularly for young people. And so there's a sort of paid volunteerism that is sort of seen as, volunteering to get work experience so I can have a job, find a job. And so the whole concept of volunteering isn't real strong. And yet I know, based on volunteering in the States and working in the academic setting, that volunteering plays a huge role in terms of being engaged in your community. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, I think it'd be, the difference that I would see is in volunteering is that you're not just volunteering to be, you're not just volunteering to put in hours at an institution. And and that used to work maybe 2 decades ago. Like if you're thinking about getting into a college, if you're like, I've had a ton of volunteering hours, people will go, oh, that's great, you've had tons of volunteering hours, like that's going to help. What the trend now isn't so much trying to get volunteering hours, which a lot of people have, but you want to put hours into building something or putting together a cool project. Like the TEDx talk for your school is absolutely perfect. Like that is a perfect kind of project to do for colleges to see. And to think not just like a one-time, okay, like I'm putting this together as a one-time thing, and I want to put, but thinking more in terms of, can I set up a board of students that produce a TEDx talk every year, like the annual TEDx talk of my school, and have like a competition to try to get the best talks in there and try to get people from the community. Like that's the kind of volunteering and the kind of project building that colleges are now looking for. So I wouldn't think of it so much as terms of volunteer hours as much as project hours. And then I wouldn't think of it so much as one-time project hours, but how can I establish something that is even going to continue if I am no longer running it?
Sustainability.
Yeah, and that's the new sort of in vogue thing. I guess the cool, that's the new black, is how do I get, how do I set up an institution, kind of thing. For example, there was a student I was working with. She's the one who got into early action MIT. She got in at MIT early. That means that MIT became her safety school, right? So what she did when she was a junior is she started a Quidditch club between 4 different high schools. You know Quidditch, like Harry Potter?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what she did. She went around to 4 different high schools. And they, I guess, Middlebury, they have these rules for, they call it Muggle Quidditch. So she did this. She went to 4 different high schools, and they got these little Quidditch teams together, and it became like this annual thing. Now think about it, right? It seems completely ridiculous. Like this is a completely ridiculous thing, like a Quidditch club. How does setting up a Quidditch club help you get into one of the world's best institutions? But what it shows is that she not only is kind of a geek, which is cool, and MIT likes geeks. But she also went to 4 different high schools, right? So she had to coordinate not just within her high school, but she had to go to other high schools and say, hey, do you want to do this? So essentially, she created 4 clubs at 4 different high schools that all coordinated with each other and had this event. And it was supposed to be like a league, like they would play each other, and then like the other teams would play each other, and that kind of thing. So that's the kind of thing that they're looking for. And I wouldn't call that volunteer hours as much as that's a project that she did that was cool. That's what you're looking for more.
Okay. It's a project that was cool and that she was passionate about.
Yeah, it's fun. You can talk about it, and like, she can talk about, Quidditch is something that is just kind of fun, it's silly, it brings people together. Yeah, she organized it. She had to contact Middlebury. I mean, there's a lot of things that she had to do in order to put that together, and it was a lot of work, but it paid off.
You can do TED Talks for that. Great. Okay, any other questions? Okay. No.
I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time and for answering our questions. We really appreciate your help. We do have a million other questions, but we do not want to take much of your time. I hope we can have another session, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an idea too. I have an idea. So my idea is, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you. This is fun. And thanks for my daughters too. I know it's kind of fun for them to see what Dad does, and you know they're little, and when they see you across the world, it really opens up their ideas of what's possible. You know, it really opens up and it's really cool. And I think on a larger level, that's what we're trying to do is expand your vision of what you think is possible. And the internet can do these amazing things. So you really tap into that. My idea is this, is to come with really specific questions. Like, here is my college essay that I've written. Or here are the professors that I want to contact. What does that email look like that I can write them? You know, and I would be happy to maybe get 3 of those things, look at 3 things ahead of time, and then we can do a workshop, a really specific workshop on, this is exactly the kind of advice that I would give to a student, working at, if I were working with a student, this is exactly the kind of thing that I would do. I would be really happy to do that. If you had really specific, questions like that, I think it'd be really helpful.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, this is a group that meets throughout the academic year, so, and I know, now that we know your schedule in terms of the hour difference, I think this might work out really well. So we will definitely be back in touch.
Yeah, and there's times. I mean, I do travel some internationally too. So there's opportunities for that as well. Maybe one day I'll make it to Macedonia. You never know.
You never know. All right, John. Thanks.
Do a TEDx talk. I'll see if I can make it. All right, we'll see if that can happen.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So,